So picture this, if you will. You are the Democratic Party. Heading into the 2024 presidential election, you have access to all the same polls that everybody else does. You realize that your leading candidate is not even just barely holding on to political relevance, but also to sanity itself. What are you going to do? What hope do you have of prevailing in 2024? Well, you have a viable challenger within your own party. You just go ahead and ice them out, and you deny them the opportunity to go and debate. You know, what do you do for your leading rival to the other major political party that's out there? What do you just throw them in jail and disqualify them from every ballot that's out there? There's no other conceivable way that you could possibly interpret this situation that's going on right now outside of that very fact. Once again, apologies for the voice. It's a weird situation where it's just, it really is just the voice at this point in time. My energy levels, everything else is totally fine. It's just I sound like I smoked every single cigarette in the city. I apologize, but this is pressing news, and this is such an unprecedented, or rather precedented, about a former president, situation that I have no other choice. So we'll grin and bear it. I don't know, speed it up, slow it down, or something like that, whatever makes it a little more tolerable. But if you like the low dulcet tones, well, hey, guess what? I got you covered, probably for the next few days. Former President Donald Trump said that he received a letter on July 17th informing him that he is the target of a special counsel investigation of the January 6th Capitol breach. Oh yeah, this is what all of this is stemming from, by the way. And it's still coming from that stupid jackass. Well, the pun not intended, but Jack Smith. Oh my god, this guy, he just won't give up. He's right up Trump shit. Said the Sunday letter from Special Counsell Jack Smith that gave him 4 days to report to a grand jury. In a message posted on social media platform Truth Social on July 18th, the former president suggested that the short deadline may mean he would be arrested and indicted. Yeah, it kind of seems like that, right? And you can obviously find the statement. He put it out there, but this is the nicest format that I've seen it laid out in. And unfortunately, because your boy's under the weather, I can't do my Trump impression, which it pisses me off even more than this indictment. I'm joking, but Mr. Trump called the letter horrifying news for our country and framed it in the backdrop of the two other indictments he's facing amid heated presidential re-election campaign in which he is dominating the GOP field. Yeah, depending on which polls you look at, either he has the plurality, which is every poll that's out there when it comes to GOP support, or he has a majority of the support. Like the lowest that you see it is his support's in the mid 40s compared to everybody else that's down there, or it's over 50, getting close to 60%. And I'd imagine once the polls catch up to this situation right here, it's only going to continue to go higher and higher as more idiots in that stupid GOP field continue to get burned by the likes of Tucker Carlson, which, if you guys were paying attention to that stuff over the weekend, holy, there were a lot of political campaigns ended in an evening. Tim Scott and Mike Pence come directly to mind, but off the back of this situation, there's another one that's already been fading quite a bit, but this situation right here is going to turn off any potential bleed over for that individual, but all in due time, all in due time. Mr. Trump was charged earlier this year in connection with payments of the non-disclosure agreement in the state case in New York. Yeah, when I seen this indictment, prosecution, whatever, more legal troubles for Trump, I was totally anticipating that Georgia case to drop, but no, that one's still out there in the ether right now. But this one kind of has more to do with the January 6th stuff, which is already flimsy to begin with, but we'll see what happens there. I totally still anticipate that one coming down as well. Yeah, the federal case from Miami, that one was, what, a month or two ago? This witch hunt is all about election interference. How can you deny that? That's exactly what this is at this point in time. And a complete and total political weaponization. Excuse me. It doesn't even sound as good. Even if I try my best. Boo of law enforcement, Trump wrote. Mr. Trump's campaign did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Yeah, they're too busy trying to figure out, okay, now what? Now what? What are we going to do? Because what's your proof? What exactly are you going on? The Department of Justice has indicated hundreds of people indicted, hundreds of people for participating in the breach of the Capitol on January 6th. In two of the most prominent cases, the government convinced juries in Washington that members of the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, two right-wing groups, were guilty of seditious conspiracy. Legal experts have previously suggested the successful prosecution of the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys cases spelled trouble for Trump. Well, okay, those are probably the same legal experts that think Trump woke up in the morning. The walls are closing in now. Who could be snarled with seditious conspiracy charges over parts of the speech he delivered on January 6th. The same speech that everybody's listened to, that multiple other investigations already went over in totality, in excruciating details. Unless Jack Smith is like, we ended up breaking the cipher and we figured out the coded language that Trump was using when he delivered that speech to the hundreds of thousands of people that was there. When he said fight like hell, that mean burn down the Capitol. If it was such an inflammatory remark, which always, at least at the time, especially when the impeachment inquiry and the Senate hearing was going on, they were trying to hang their hat, the Democrats, hang their hat in that whole, fight like hell pack, or rather statement. They were so infuriated by that, they made a fight like hell pack on the left, co-opted that language. I think AOC is a part of it, but they were so thrown off by that. They tried to use it as political electioneering. Very interesting. So ultimately, trying to play soothsayer and figure out what exactly is on the docket in the next few days coming down the pike. Seditious conspiracy likely charge if Trump's January 6th grand jury investigation reaches an indictment. So what exactly does that mean? Upon President Donald Trump's revealing a grand jury is investigating him in relation to January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol protest and riot, seditious conspiracy charges emerge as the likely charge he will face. Mr. Trump said he was informed of being the target on Sunday night through a letter from the office of Jack Smith. Yes, the same guy who's going through all of classified documents stuff, which doesn't this kind of seem like a conflict of interest, or is this guy just specific manager of all things Trump? Oh no, Merrick Garland, who we all know is a good faith actor, just decided to expand his role to go, January 6th, and then, the documents. The witch hunt is all about election interference and a complete and total political weaponization of law enforcement. Yes, that's what Trump said on Truth Social earlier this morning when I seen that. So what do we have? Tactical move. Okay, prosecutors should first ask for a voluntary appearance before subpoenaing the target of a criminal organization. Yeah, they gave you a kind of a strict timeline, so it's like, can you come down for a voluntary appearance? It's like, no, you got 4 days, otherwise we're going to be sending the feds again to wherever you're at. Also, lawyers usually discourage their clients from going before a grand jury if they're the target of an investigation. It could be avoided by pleading the Fifth Amendment right, against self-incrimination. But there's also going to be another amendment at play right here. He noted that Mr. Trump is already facing indictments in New York and Florida and pleaded the Fifth in Washington, gives another talking point to his opponents. But cool, there's also going to be the talking point of, wow, they're really shook by this guy. If this is the third different indictment they're levying against them on what exactly? An NDA that a porn star broke about a situation that may or may not have happened. Fantastic stuff, but the media will just go ahead and say, that was all about hush money. Yeah, shut up, bro. And then, my classified document shit. Okay, cool. The same thing that literally every other elected member of Congress and presidents over the past 30, 40, 50 years has participated in as well. Something that you can verifiably point to and go, Mike Pence had documents, didn't charge him. Biden had boxes of documents in multiple locations, didn't charge him. Barack Obama, the exact same thing. Bill Clinton? No, he took documents and he had tapes hidden as well, and the Supreme Court found that was totally fine within the purview of a former president. But you're going to go after Trump in that situation? Very interesting use of malicious prosecution. And now you want to go with January 6th because he gave a speech? Like, what do you guys know? That the Capitol Hill Police Department, that the Washington, D.C. Police Department, that an entire impeachment investigation, and then also the committee hearings couldn't prove, but this time Jack Smith has the goods? And I understand a federal indictment is normally, as good as a conviction, something like a 98% conviction rating once you end up getting to that point. But Jack Smith, to his credit, he has never won a case. Did you guys know that? I was shocked to figure that out. So this is the hired gun that the Biden department picked, which, yeah, okay, the Biden administration, if they were to pick one of the most inept individuals, that would totally be in line with everything that they do. So it makes a lot of sense. So here we go. Seditious conspiracy is a broad statute that includes not just attempts to forcibly overthrow the government, but also much less consequential behavior, such as any agreement by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any laws of the United States. Okay. But again, you're going to have to prove Trump did that, and you just don't really know that he was instigating any of that. The allegation would be that Trump conspired with others, including perhaps those already convicted, to by force, either hinder, delay, or prevent the certification of the Electoral College vote. Astonishingly, that's a vague burden of proof in several seditious conspiracy cases. Mr. Smith might not argue that Mr. Trump actually conspired with the Proud Boys, but I knew that this was going to pop up. But rather, the comment to stand down and stand by was a part of the conspiracy. Remember when he was prompted to say that by Mike Wallace, that stupid warbly mouth fucker, when he was working for Fox News during the first presidential debate? Do you denounce white supremacy, Trump? Mr. Trump, it's been 15 minutes. Can you denounce white supremacy? And then who was the one that prompted Trump to specifically call out the Proud Boys? Oh, wasn't that Joe Biden feeding him a line? He's like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. Stand down, stand by, don't do anything. You're going to have to play entire clips in full context. So again, your case falls apart if that's even what we're dealing with right here. But yes, this leads us to this conclusion right here with the 14th Amendment. Activists want to disqualify Trump from the ballot in key states under the 14th Amendment. Two civil rights organizers are launching a campaign to pressure state governments to disqualify former President Donald Trump from appearing on ballots in 2024. The group says secretaries of states are empowered by the 14th Amendment to bar Trump from running for office in January because of January 6th, 2021 Capitol insurrection. Funny, when this article was published 2.5 weeks ago, just simply coincidental, right? Starting Sunday, Ma Familia Vota, and a free speech for people. Hilarious. You got a free speech organization calling for somebody to be stripped off of national ballots. Hilarious. We'll stage a week of rallies and banner drops outside offices to Secretary of States in California, Oregon, Colorado, and Georgia. Yuck. The clause bars from a series of public offices people who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or an officer of the United States, or as any member of the state legislature, or as an executive judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in an insurrection or rebellion against the same. So yes, that's the 14th Amendment clause that becomes very important. And once again, shout out to John Wilkes Booth for taking care of that problem. That was Abraham Lincoln, because what was this? Oh, the 14th Amendment came in at the same time as the 13th and the 15th by that warmongering piece of shit Lincoln. Fuck that dude. For further context on that, and while John Wilkes Booth did nothing wrong, check out Razor Fist's video that he put out last year. Incredibly good watch, and did a breakdown of that over on Rumble if you're interested in that as well. But yeah, the idea that this investigation is ramping up, well, feds seized Trump advisors' phones in January 6th investigation. Federal investigators have reportedly seized the phones of advisors to the 2024 GOP frontrunner Donald Trump as part of an investigation into the events of January 6th. According to the New York Times, the phones of Boris Epstein, described as an in-house counsel who helps coordinate Mr. Trump's legal efforts. Oh, okay, cool. So that sounds like it's a violation of client privilege or lawyer confidentiality. I'm just saying. And campaign strategist Mike Roman, who is director of election day operations for the Trump campaign in 2020. Okay, the phones of John Eastman and Jeffrey Clark were also seized. Clark's phone was seized as part of an investigation into alternate electors, which we have more on that very, very shortly. But okay, cool. So they're starting to snatch up a bunch of evidence in order to be the first person. I guess 5th time's the charm when it comes to investigating January 6th. unfucking believable. But one of the other major candidates, and I use major very loosely when it comes to the GOP field ahead of 2024, some asshole who thinks that he'll just magically get all of the people that were supporting Trump at the same time to just flock to his floundering campaign, came out and made a statement, and oh yeah, he backs Trump against this weaponized DOJ. Well, listen to the entire quote and you can go ahead and make up your own conclusions. Stupid ass Ron McCain. The more I hear this idiot talk, the more I fucking despise him. Listen, man, I can't vote for anybody. I'm a Canadian up here. I'm just looking at this stuff with optimism and hope that the legal system isn't quite as corrupt as it's being put out to be. But the more you see stuff like this, the less you think that the system is unvarnished. But Romney had to say, oh, I hope he doesn't get charged. I really hope that. Florida dud Ron DeSantis said Tuesday he hopes former President Donald Trump is in charge in Special Counsell Jack Smith's investigation into the actions January 6th, blah, blah, blah. Arguing it wouldn't be good for the country. I don't think it serves us good to have a presidential election focused on what happened 4 years ago. Fuck you. In January. And so I want to focus on looking forward. I don't want to look back. I don't want to see him. I hope he doesn't get charged. I think it'll be good for the country. Like, is he actually that retarded, or is he just the worst fucking candidate that we've ever seen? Not Trump. Trump's great. But this fucking great value version of him, which has actually been revealed throughout his, failing fucking campaign to be more or less a dollar store version of Mitt Romney or John McCain, Jeb Bush, whatever, okay? An amalgamation of all three and maybe your favorite neocon that I've left out of the list. Because, yeah, the voice ends up picking up on, over the weekend we might do a watch along with an interview that Ron DeSantis just had with CNN's best boy Jake Tapper, and I think that there's going to be a couple of fucking whoppers in that one, so that'll be worth it going over. But here he is talking about, my Capitol riot and what Trump should have done. I think it was shown how he was in the White House and didn't do anything while things were going on. You couldn't be more of an out-of-touch neocon by saying that. If he thinks, you take a look at polls as well, he's treading water at somewhere around the high teens, low 20s, depending on the polls that are out there. There is absolutely nothing going for this little fuck at this point in time. He's done. He's killed himself politically because he's running a very anti-Trump campaign. You were supposed to be the chosen one, and then you threw it all away. Maybe these were always his true colors. Maybe he's just the consummate political figure. He's the consummate professional politician because he just goes whatever way his donors and his shitty advisors tell him to. Because that's what we're seeing here when it comes to the war in Ukraine. Before his official announcement, that's a Slavic civil war. We don't really want to have anything to do with that stuff. And then the moment that Adelson money and the Jeb Bush endorsement stuff's coming around, Putin's a war criminal and we need to show him who's boss. We need to pledge our allegiance to Ukraine. But to repeat something that's been long discredited, that has been proven to be false, it has that same energy of, I have no idea what it's like to just hand out hush money to a porn star. Have you seen my wife, Hillary DeSantis? She's wonderful. Ain't it fantastic? We'd make such a wonderful couple in the White House. So yeah, you were number two. And I'm seeing a lot of other political influencers and pundits that are out there starting to adopt the talking point that I was mentioning about a month ago at this point in time. That Ron DeSantis is fading fast and Vivek Ramaswamy is definitely going to end up taking second place by the end of this primary. But let's just say the indictment comes down for Trump. He gets disqualified by the 14th fucking amendment. That was some of the information that ended up prompting DeSantis to launch his career, hearing that, Trump's going to end up being disqualified. He's just going to go ahead and hand the mantle to you and you'll just coast your way into the White House in 2024 instead of just, cultivating your persona and maybe finding a fucking personality for 2028. No, just go ahead and launch that right now. Having the likes of Karl Rove in your ear, all those other fucking failed neocons that surround you. Because like I said up front, Trump either has a plurality or the majority of the support from the GOP base. Do you think that they're going to go to somebody who spent the better part of a couple of months shitting on him every single day? Not just him, though, his supporters as well. Because it's a little bit different than the Trump campaign, looking at Ron DeSantis, calling him Ron DeSanctimonious, which ended up being kind of a clarion call and a bit of a dog whistle as to, the real intentions of Ron DeSantis. Something that Trump does, if you pay attention to some of his interviews, even some of his previous, prior to entering politics interviews, he kind of does that with a whole bunch of things. Check out his statements on, or rather his interview snippets for Harvey Weinstein and Jeff Epstein. He knows a thing or two about a thing or two, and he'll just leave little nuggets that are out there. But how could you attack Ron DeSantis? Oh, he's such a good ally. He's one of our greatest allies. And what has he done? Oh, did it just... I'm such a better version of Trump. I don't have any of those hang-ups. Look at how many women love me. And it's just like, shut up, you fucking plastic bitch. Nobody looks at you. Nobody turns up to your fucking rallies to begin with. And then you just continue to discredit your position every single time that you're pressed on it. It's impressive how poorly he's run this campaign, him and his people as well. And to just side with the RINOs and the Democrats on the January 6th stuff, bro, you're done. You were already done beforehand. You just finished throwing the dirt on the grave that you dug yourself by launching the campaign to begin with. Fucking prescient when you launch a campaign on a Twitter Spaces that was riddled with glitches from your own team and then say, oh, we broke the internet. Fucking stupid, man. So yeah, ultimately, if Trump ends up disappearing from the ballot because of electoral interference, where do you think those 45, 50, 60% of Republicans are going to go? Sure, some of them are just going to continue to fight the cause, but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people over the previous 2 election cycles that fuck with the Republican Party simply because there's Trump. You're going to create apathy. You're going to create indignation to the party that's not doing anything to back the fucker up. You have a majority in the House, and what's your biggest concern? I've seen something stupid from Steve Scalise saying, oh, we're going to go ahead and pledge our undying support for Israel. It's like, you got more prescient and pertinent things to do than fucking deal with that stuff right now. Your party is hanging on the edge of relevance by and the system is going after the one guy that resurrected your entire political party's fucking livelihood, rejuvenated the base. Because you take a look, you just bust down the numbers from 2014, 2012, everything through the Bush era. All of the people that fucked with the GOP back in the cut, they're all dying off. Trump came in and he rejuvenated the GOP. Now you're going to try to throw him under the bus because you think all of those same people who were Trump supporters are just going to stay with the GOP? Fuck off. Ain't going to happen, you idiots. It's like Hollywood, learning all of the worst lessons that you can see from the biggest blockbusters that are out there. Oh, why was Super Mario Brothers such a success? Oh, it's because of people like video game adaptations. Why was Top Gun Maverick such a success? Oh, because people like explosions. They'll never fucking learn. Politics is downstream from culture and idiots are pissing in the lake. But to further disincentivize supporting Trump going forward, take a look at what Michigan is doing out here. Michigan charges 16 fake Trump electors with election law forgery felonies. Felonies. You're getting charged with felonies for exercising your First Amendment right. Okay, listen. I got something coming out on Michigan, okay, because they've been doing some real fuck shit when it comes to laws. That should be coming out relatively shortly within the next few days. But this right here, this is the highest order of political prosecution you've seen in a long time outside of the Trump stuff. That's pretty egregious. Michigan's Attorney General filed felony charges Tuesday against 16 Republicans who acted as fake electors and for then President Donald Trump in 2020, accusing them of submitting false certificates confirming they were legitimate electors despite Joe Biden's victory in the state. Okay, cool. If they did this in 2020, okay, even though their status of being an elector has to be certified by the Secretary of State in the office where you currently reside, you fucking moron, Dana Nessel. There is precedent for this going on, but it took you the better part of 3 years to come forward and figure out if there were some forgeries. What are you doing here? Okay, announced Tuesday that all 16 individuals would get 8 criminal charges, including 2 counts of forgery, which is a 14-year felony. The group includes Republican National Committee woman Kathy Burden, Michon Maddock, former co-chair of the Michigan Republican Party. And it gets even worse if you have ages next to these people's names because, okay, you got Kathy Burden, 70 years old. A 72-year-old, a 55-year-old, 75-year-old, you're starting to see a pattern right here going against a whole bunch of old fuckers that just wanted to uphold some sort of election integrity. Because if you guys remember, back in 2020, there was a whole lot of poster board going up over a whole host of fucking windows in certain counting areas in the formerly great state of Michigan. But yeah, that act in and of itself, presenting alternate electors rather, isn't illegal. That's why Mike Pence has, or at least during 2020, had the authority and had the purview to certify the electors. You take a look at them. If they're legal and lawful, then you can cast them. So they didn't end up doing anything different, okay? So all of this shit is absolutely absurd. But I take this from somebody who I was wondering about. It's like, okay, cool. On one hand, okay, I offered my theory as to what was ultimately going to happen if they were successful in their prosecution of Trump. Massive apathy in the GOP, thunderous victory for the Democrats because, yeah, it's like, okay, it's Trump or bust for so many Republicans out there. And if you're going to go ahead and dogfuck the system even worse than you did in 2020, people are just going to throw their hands up and go, well, just fuck it. It's not worth it anymore. Who the fuck cares? Because, okay, they're capitalizing off of some well-timed violence on January 6th. Don't want to worry about any of those, agitators that were in the groups. Nobody wants to really out any CNN contributors. But okay, you're thinking if you're going to be doing all of this political lawfare against Trump supporters, trying to, as Raheem Kassam points out, they're criminalizing being pro-Trump now. They're going to try to hope that, we can go ahead and stoke some kind of insurrection. We can stoke some violence, some riots that are out there, and we can pin that directly on Trump because he's out there saying that, his crimes need to be covered up by his minions that are out there. They're really hoping that could happen. But your average rank and file Republican, they're not going to take up arms. They're not going to do anything. They'll type a mean game online, but will they actually go do it? Absolutely not. You've seen that one instance of the trespassing event, little picnic that they had on January 6th and how they're blowing that completely out of proportion. It's 9/11-2 electric boogaloo. Yeah, I don't fucking think so. So, yes, thinking of that alternative take of history that somehow, they're going after Trump, you better start taking up arms. Yes, shall not be infringed. They're just going to take to the streets. Who's the first person that comes to mind? He's on the screen right there. Framework is being built that Trump tried to start a civil war. Yay, somebody press the button. You get the free space on the bingo card. They will use the insurrection to remove him from the ballot. Yes, we already went over all of that stuff, but I just wanted to see if Tim Pool would say the word, and guess what? Just like Bart Simpson, he said the thing. So we'll see where this goes. Trump is supposed to at least appear before a grand jury, and given what this is, we should have some movement on the situation before the end of the week. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting, and I'll be covering it, that's for sure. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.